Hello everyone, this is Frits from Joranalogue for another Patch Tuesday. Today I'm gonna show you how to make a generative patch with our Joranalogue system. This can be nice to add some ear candy or like sound effects to your track to make your track that you're working on a bit more interesting. So you can hear this strange noise in the background already. It's not a glitch or anything. It's the sound of these two filter aids that being cross modulated by pivot 2. So when I tweak pivot, you can hear that I change the cross modulation from the left filter aid to the right and vice versa, and in the middle they're kinda not modulating each other at all. So what I want to do today is make this sound change every time a trigger or anything happens. I'm gonna use step 8 as a pseudo 8 times random output generator. So how I do this, I set step 8 in shift mode, all mode and sample modus. I take something with some fluctuating voltages, in this example it's Generative, and I patch it to the input of step 8. So what will happen every time I get a trigger or press the trigger? It will sample the incoming voltage and the input on the first step. And when I press again, it will shift this value to the next step until it reaches all these steps and then it goes away. It will kind of sound very random, even when it's actually shifting the information from the first step to the next step. So yeah, like you can hear, every time I press a button, the sound changes. So I have these 8 outputs of step 8 patched to the volt productive input of the first filter aid, volt productive input of the second filter aid. I am modulating the pivot parameter, so I'm modulating this or this. Then I have a contour here which modulates mix 3, and this becomes a modulation for the amplitude of the sound, like you can hear. And this is also being modulated by step 8. Then we have orbit 3 which does the panning. And that's also modulated by step 8. So yeah, every time we press this step, trigger button, we get a different sound. I also added a few kick drum hits in there to make it a bit more EDM-like. So let's do this again. And also the kick drums are being modulated, so not any of the kicks will sound the same. So this can be very nice to create a lot of sample hits which you can use afterwards to make a sample pack, to have your own samples to color your tracks with something interesting. So yeah. Now I'm gonna take the core output of this Generative and patch it into the step input of step 8. Now every time the oscillator makes an oscillation cycle, it will advance the step. So now we can kind of see a rhythm, a tempo I mean, for the random generation. The sound you hear is also being processed by delay 1, and this one goes straight into enhance, which is panning the sound with modulation from orbit. And I'm using Morph 4 as a kind of mixer where I patch the stereo signal in the 2 outputs, and the kick signal is being patched into the 2 middle outputs to create a stereo mixer. So yeah, now we can change the speed to very fast. But like you can hear, there is a lot of fun to be had with all these tempos. So what I'm gonna do is take an output of the step 8's random outputs, our individual outputs, and patch this back into Generate. So this will make that every time it hits, it will also modulate the frequency of the clock. So this gonna get very generative. Let's do it. It can also make your patch freeze from time to time, but then by hitting a knob, you can bring back some life into your generative patch. And actually with the sliders of step 8, they're now becoming attenuators for what's being sampled. So if I put them all down, we kind of have a fixed sound. So this is the clock. Oh, this is very nice actually. Now play with some of the sliders. Now play with the slider that's being sent to Generative. This way you can also kind of scale your outcoming random voltages to your destination so they stay within a musical range. So yeah, let's put all the sliders back up and let this patch play out a bit. Like you can hear, you can get some very cool sound effects with your analog case. So yeah, the sound source in this video is mainly the first filter rate modulating the other filter rate, or vice versa, because I use pivot to kinda change the modulation from left to right to left, and everything in between. You are maybe thinking, why do I use filters for this as sound source? Like you maybe already know with your analog, every filter can also be an oscillator, and yeah, many modules have many functions. So let's go crazy with the clock speed for a minute. So yeah, that was my patch for today. I see you all again and have a wonderful day.